So guys, this video I'm going to watch now is a video from a wise man. Like, I enjoyed this section with him because he was saying things about P2B and also saying things about Nigerians. Like, he was not biased or anything. He was just pure saying the truth how it is. And we enjoyed this video. Watch to the end, guys, and then I'll be with you guys in a minute.
The way things are in the country at the moment, do you for a moment think that, well, maybe Nigeria deserves what they get based on what they put in? Or what exactly comes to your mind when you have a review of the 2023 election, especially with your own political stance?
I just feel we missed an opportunity. So that hurts. I think we're so close to going in a different direction. So just thinking back to how close we came to just taking a different decision as a country, as a people, it always hurts. I don't really think, Nigerians deserve it, because the majority of people were not involved in that decision. I believe the presidential election was won with like 6 million or something, and close to 100 million people were registered voters. So I think that there is a huge electorate out there that are not happy with what happened. That the majority of people, this is not their decision. This is not a reflection of what they think Nigeria is and direction Nigeria should be going into. I think that we are trapped in the vision of a minority, and really the task is how the majority can properly organize. I don't think that Nigeria as it is today is a reflection of majority decision about what Nigeria is and where Nigeria should be going. So I don't think Nigerians deserve it. I empathize with Nigerians because I feel there are lots of people like me who wanted different and tried different, and we didn't use violence. We used our words. We tried to persuade. We tried to talk. We tried to warn, and things just didn't pan out the way we wanted. And now we're all suffering it. If there was a way to separate the people who wanted this from people who didn't, and let the people that wanted it suffer, we'll be very happy to separate. But there's no way we're all in it together. So I don't feel Nigerians deserve it. I just feel like most of us, this is unfortunate, and we're having to suffer the consequences that we foresaw. Like, this is going to happen. With this kind of political culture of patronage, scratch my back, there's never going to be enough money to tackle our issues. When you're out of every 1 naira, you're using 80 kobo to service political structure. What money is left for education, for health? Even if the government is saving money, does it have enough integrity to use the money it saves on the people as opposed to its own comfort? These are all cultural issues. It doesn't matter what policy you are implementing, but your political culture is going to undermine the efficacy of whatever policy you're implementing. So my brother Shewa, I just feel sad because we came close.
When you say we came close, what was the path that you think Nigeria missed?
I think that we should have voted for P2B just because he has less political baggage. I believe that it would have had better results in terms of using public resources honestly, transparently. If we are going to suffer, let it be that all of us are suffering. Not that some people are still flying private jets, driving convoys, eating large, and then it's the people that are being squeezed. Ordinary people are being squeezed while the government is living large. At least we'll have had a government where if there is not enough, we would have seen that there is not enough. Presidents don't reduce in convoy. He's not flying private jets anymore. We'll see that, look, Nigeria is in a tough place. Because Nigeria is in a tough place. But the problem is that the sacrifice is all on the people, while those in office are not making any sacrifices. If you ask, okay, how has the government cut down? They say, we reduce the number of people that travel abroad. Is that cutting down? People can't afford food. They can't afford medicine. You're talking about reducing the number of people traveling abroad. So I think that we missed an opportunity to vote someone who would have used public resources in a more transparent and honest manner. That's the opportunity I think Nigerians miss.
I imagine that for a lot of people who thought Peter Obi was the standard, was amongst his opponents, on those who are on the ballot, he fits the bill, and those perhaps who have framed him in their minds, seeing him in that in the presidential villa, controlling the affairs of the country, and you probably are one of them. I know that you imagine things a lot, and you have a graphic mind because you have a creative and literary mind, and I'm imagining that when that didn't happen, how much of a disappointment was that for you?
It was. I was deeply disappointed. It's you. I put my whole heart and my whole soul into it, and in all sincerity, not because I'm not a card-carrying member of the Labour Party. I'm not even what you would call an obedient. I was just a Nigerian who looked at the options on the table and thought, look, this person is the best person. And I put everything I had into it. So obviously, whenever you struggle really hard for something and you don't achieve it, you feel disappointed. But then that's why we all need to be resilient. Social struggle is I always say it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So you have to be ready. I always give the example, in the US in 1897, the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land, ruled that discrimination and racism was constitutional. Imagine, no courts to appeal to beyond that. But African Americans kept struggling, and 50 years later, they were able to reverse that decision. But it took 50 years of struggle. The struggle against apartheid, when the ANC was formed, took about 80 years before Mandela became president. Social struggle takes time. And if you know this, then you know that, okay, we've lost this battle, but we've not lost the war. We have to keep struggling. I have children, 4. So I'm not even fighting for myself. I'm fighting for them and their own children coming. Because in the end, we don't have any other place. Everybody may be happy now. You can travel to the UK, you can travel to America, but one day or any day, those countries can become hostile to immigrants or to people that are not from there and ask you to go back to your own, it can happen. It's not impossible. The world can suddenly become a hostile place for immigrants. And that's when you realize that really you just have one place where you come from. So you have to make sure that your corner of the earth, last, you can always go back home. And that's why we're fighting for Nigeria to be a more hospitable place. And honestly, Sheung, if we had other options, let's say Oshibanjo had been on the ballot, it would have been a different scenario, because then you're literally comparing like with like. The permutations are different. But when you look at an option where on one hand you don't know, how the person makes their money, you don't know what primary school they went to, or second, everything about them is a mystery. On the other hand, you have someone that is very clear. For me, the choice was a no-brainer.
But if Oshibanjo was, for example, on the ballot, maybe APC or something, maybe you will have a divided.
I'll have been put in a corner. That's the time. Well, maybe I'll admit that, okay, I'm going to vote Peter because he's Igbo like me. Because when they are both equal, and other considerations can come into play. So that you might say, okay, this one is from my side, I'll vote this one. But you can't. When there is a clear disparity in competence, then you always have to put competence first.
Guys, you've heard what this man said. Like I said, this was actually a speech from a wise man, a very wise man. Because I think I enjoyed the section because he was saying things about how the minority decided the fate of majority, because that was what happened in the election. Few people came together and they rigged the election because the majority that we know voted for P2B, but the minority went ahead to rig the election, and that was why everybody is suffering it. But even some persons from the minority are also suffering from it, because some have came out and said that we regretted voting for Tinubu, that we should have voted for P2B. This was what somebody came out to confess. It's not as if I'm the one that are putting up all these things. Someone said it, that they regretted voting for Tinubu. That's because some persons themselves admitted that they voted for Tinubu. That means the few that voted for Tinubu they were few compared to those that voted for P2B. But Nigeria happened to us, where corruption is the talk of the day, where someone can broad daylight rig the election and go scot-free because of what? The judges cannot even carry out a clear judgment because of what they have been bought by the current administration. So that's what happened in the election. And this man is a wise man. He said that we should have voted for Peter because he knew or he knows what Peter would have done. Like Peter always say that he will make sure he cut the cost of governance. What does it mean? Because this man says something about in every 1 naira they use 8 naira in their political establishments. What does it mean? That in 1 naira they use most part of it to renovate the houses, to buy private jets, to buy SUVs. Then how much is left for the masses? That was his question. And I think that is a very important question. How much is left for the masses? Where you're using almost all the money you generate from subsidy, tariff, borrowing money, all use it for is for the political ambitions. You are buying SUVs almost every month for senators, and every year you must make sure you change their model to the new model. These are the things that Peter said that he's going to cut down, and most of these our politicians would have been removed from the office, assuming Peter won the election. It's very clear. If Peter would have won the election, our Senate president wouldn't be there. Most of these our leaders wouldn't be in office till today because Peter knows that these people are the reason why Nigeria is suffering. So he will remove all of them and then put those that he knows that will change Nigeria for good. We have a lot of persons that I think that will make Nigeria great again, and Peter also knows them. So let's see how 2027 will go. But to me, I think that election is going to be a massive one because it's going to be more tense than the one that happened in 2023. Because right now, people came out last election to vote and then it was rigged. Let's see how the next one will come, because I think people will come out with their eye wide open so that nobody will rig the election. If you rig it, you collect auto. I think that's how the next election is going to go, but I don't know yet till that time. But this man made a whole lot of points about this issue happening in Nigeria and what happened in that election. That minority are the reason why majority are suffering. It's as simple as that. Go to the northerners, go to the north. You see that the northern elders are not suffering, but the masses, the large population in the north are suffering. You know that north almost have the highest states in Nigeria, and check where they have the highest states, and still they have the highest poor people in Nigeria. That means that they are suffering, and they have the highest mass of people that are suffering. So that means the few are enjoying where the majority are suffering. Like they said, when the elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. That's what we are suffering now. So I'll see you guys in my next video. If you don't forget to always subscribe, you support again, kids. Stay tuned, guys.